So we have aligned a lot of our community college degree programs with four-year programs. So what that means is students can start out at the community colleges, complete 2 years there, and then transfer to any of the 4 state universities here in Connecticut, okay? So, say you want to do psychology. You could start out at the community college as a psychology major, and then transfer to Southern, if you so chose. So my daughter did that. She saved a whole lot of money. And when she started at the four-year school, she was in her junior year, so she only had 2 years left to complete of the university.
UConn is also doing the free tuition for incoming students. So would that be included with the free tuition plus like the gateway and like both of them, or would we be like paying for UConn tuition once we like transfer?
So that's a good question. Did everybody hear that? She asked about UConn's tuition-free program and how that basically connects to this. So UConn is not actually, if you think about like TAP, for instance, UConn is not considered one of our 4 state universities within the CSU system. They are separate from that, but we do have students and transfer articulations for students that do want to start out at the community college and transition to UConn. So that is still an option, and we always tell students, definitely work closely with the advisor, the transfer advisor at the community college, and then the transfer advisor at UConn, if that's what you so chose, or the transfer advisor at St. Joseph's or Trinity. So we even have students that transition to the private institutions. All right. So support retention efforts. So again, by making sure that students don't have to worry about the cost of tuition and fees, we want to ensure that they're able to continue going to school. And PACT also includes an additional $250 for each student. So you are required but you are required to apply for financial aid assistance, okay? So everyone would need to complete the FAFSA to qualify for the PACT program. So no matter what the outcome is of the FAFSA, whether you get your full tuition covered by FAFSA, or let's say you only get $1,000 covered by the FAFSA, right? This program is going to pick that up. Plus give you an extra $250 per semester. Okay? So that extra $250, you can use that towards books, right? Because a lot of the schools already provide transportation like bus passes for students, okay? And so this PACT will also cover that transportation fee for a bus pass. So which degrees does it apply to? So it applies to any associate degree or certificate that's eligible for Title IV funding. And I probably let Ray talk a little bit about the Title IV funding and what that means and what types of certificates are covered.
So when you fill out a FAFSA, you're applying for Title IV funding. And Title IV funds are things like the federal student loan program. Has anybody ever heard of the federal Pell Grant program? Okay, we do maybe $12 million a year in federal Pell Grants that we give to Cable. Well, now in addition to that, if this federal Pell Grant, let's say, only covers half of your tuition and fees, the other half is going to be picked up by this program that we're talking about today. Okay, so what I would have done before this program is offer a student loan to pick up the difference. Like I said, student loan. We won't have to do that now because we have this PACT program. Okay, in addition to filling out the FAFSA, you can qualify for a work-study program. We employ about 100 to 120 students each year in our federal work-study program. And it's a great way to, I'm a big advocate of that, it's a great way to get job experience that you can put on a resume. And yeah, so that's Title IV. We do a lot of Title IV.
So I'm sorry, 1 second, time back, one second. So you can see that up there, it says 72 credits, 36 months. What's the significance of that? Yes.
When we're working with students to complete the Gateway Community College application, part of the application asks students to identify if they're transferring without an associate's, if they're going for a certificate program. My question is, at what point do you determine that a student is attending Gateway Community College to earn a degree, an associate's degree, or a certificate program?
Can I answer that on the next slide where we talk a little bit more about eligibility? Okay, so we'll get to that. So the significance of 72 credits in 36 months, right? Because we know sometimes you guys come and you may not know exactly what you want to do when you set foot on the campus, and maybe you got to take a couple of classes here and there to kind of really see what it is that you're interested in. So that 72 credits does allow for a little bit of exploring. Now the average associate's degree ranges from 60 to 63 credits? Yeah, maybe. For some selective admissions, right? We go. Okay, so up to 68 for allied health programs, so like nursing, sonography, rad tech, those types of programs seem to have a little more credits built into them. Thank you for that. And 3 years. So we'll give this to you for 72 credits or up to 3 years while you're completing your degree, okay? So what are the eligibility requirements? So you must be an in-state resident, so you must be a resident of Connecticut. You must have graduated from a Connecticut high school, all right? Doesn't matter if it's public or private, or if you were homeschooled, okay? You could also have been a resident of Connecticut and done online school, and you would still qualify for this. Again, you have to complete the FAFSA. That is a requirement for this. Annual requirement. So sometimes I have to make sure parents and students know that every single year you have to complete that FAFSA, okay? Full-time enrollment. So that means that you are at least taking 12 credits, which usually looks about 4 classes per semester, okay? Some students take 5, but on average, most students take about 4 classes, okay? So 12 credits. Priority registration deadline. So you have to have applied and completed your FAFSA by July 15th for the fall, and then November 15th if you're starting in the spring, okay? Any questions about that? So that's kind of like a hardcore deadline, so do not wait, okay? We will be having a new application that will be coming online in March that students can complete, and there's a question on there that asks, are you interested or applying for PACT? Mark yes, okay? It's kind of the same as that work study question, right, on financial aid, the financial aid application. If they say, are you interested in applying for work study, say yes, okay? Developmental education is included in the enrollment status. So the developmental courses are courses that are designed to kind of prepare you if you need a little bit extra support to move into college credit classes, okay? So if you are enrolled in one of those support level classes that's right below, like let's say English 101 or Math 137, Tony, isn't it?
That's first 137.
Okay. Okay, so English 101 or Math 137, that class would still count towards your full-time load, okay? And winter session is going to be included with spring. So we do have some winter sessions where students start in like late December, right? Or early January. And those classes, if you decide to start then and not start in August, you'd still be eligible for this program. And continuous enrollment is required. All right, so you do have to enroll from semester to semester to continue being eligible for the grant. Yeah. The short answer is no. However, there is an appeal process, right? So there are sometimes some special circumstances that students may encounter. And I encourage you that as soon as you are aware of whatever those circumstances may be, that you do speak with your campus advisors, your admissions office, and your financial aid person. Yes, before you decide not to re-enroll or withdraw from any classes, you should always talk to financial aid and your advisor to see how it would impact your aid.
SAP is 2.0,
SAP is 2.0, absolutely.
and that's satisfactory.
And that's student satisfactory academic progress. So that means that you have to maintain a minimum GPA of a 2.0. All right? Questions about that minimum GPA or continuous enrollment? Let me get back to you on that. Let me get back to you on that question right there and see how, what that academic standing in the SAP policy would look like to impact that, because I don't want to give you the wrong answer about that. They are still eligible for this program, but they do have to come. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Ray?
Non-documented students must fill out a FAFSA. They
Yep.
can't, and they are unable to fill out a FAFSA, so they would not qualify for this. But the state legislature has set aside the Connecticut grant to support non-documented students. There's a different application that they have to fill out, and they send it to our financial aid office.
Yeah. It's a
Thank
little
you.
more involved, but it's basically the same questions. But there is funding for undocumented students.
So they're eligible for the same type of benefit, but just have to pay.
Yeah, not the PACT, but there's some set aside money specifically for that.
But it does not guarantee full coverage.
Okay,
It does not guarantee debt-free.
Right.
thank you.
This is by far the biggest program.
I want to thank them for clarifying that for you guys. All right, we can go to the next one. Okay, so this is a lot of the questions where we were talking about the appeal. So yes, documented medical emergencies, if you happen to do military deployment, if there's a selective admission program that in some ways the programs are structured where you'd be under full-time enrollment. Sometimes the programs start in like a summer session. So there would be some appeal process for that to happen, okay? And also part-time enrollment in your final term. So if you've completed all of your courses at your last semester and you really don't have like a full-time load that's needed, then that is part of the appeal process and they will work with you. Questions about any of that before I move to the next slide? All right. All right, so the college will have a designated person that will work with the students and the advisors to determine the maximum number of credit hours feasible for enrollment, okay? So if you decide that you want to go over that 12 credit or you want to go over 5 classes of enrollment, they will work with you to kind of figure out what that max is. It's very rare that we would have a student enroll in more than 5 classes.
Maximum 18.
Yeah.
And also those students that might have a disability, it's very important to, when you enroll, to meet with what we call our Accessibility Services Center, Disability Student Services, to document your disability so that if in fact you cannot take a full load and must go have two classes or accommodations. They can document that so that you do not disqualify yourself for PACT.
And so I want to, double back and stress what Tony was saying, that, for students that may have like a 504 or IEP plan, that you make sure that you connect with the disability services coordinator on the campus, because they can help put certain accommodations in place for students, right? And things like this are not usually retroactive. So I always tell students, you want to get in there before the first day of class so that they can have everything set up for you and ready to go, and they've informed all of your instructors of what your accommodations may be, whether that's extended test time or, private testing locations, something like that, okay? Was there a question? No? All right, so I covered this already where I said we're going to have a new application starting in March, and we will have that question on the application again that will ask students, are you interested in applying for PACT, okay? And just definitely mark yes. And then also, I'm sure your counselors are very instrumental in making sure that you all are filling out the FAFSA and that you're knowledgeable about the FAFSA. But again, you also do have help on the college campuses as well.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, as of March, there's going to be a question on the actual application. We've had quite a few seniors already apply to Gateway Community College, so how will they be able to identify that they're interested in being considered for the PACT program?
That's an excellent question. Tony?
I would think that we would consider all students for PACT program. This just indicates for our tracking how many students apply and are interested in that application. It's purely a tracking mechanism. But all students will be, the students who have applied and are about to be accepted, because we just finished our spring applications. And if you will, any student that comes to you, please share with them. We will get to them. It's just that we had a backlog of the spring applications that we had to get to. But they will be considered for PACT.
One more thing. There's something we do with the Pell Grant. It's called auto accept. It's called auto accept. So no one turns down free money. Nobody. I mean, I think I have had one person in 25 years that was adamant about turning the money down, but no one turns it down. It defaults to you're accepted for that. So if you miss that, I'm sure it'll be caught in as an automatically accepted to the PACT program. Your wish to participate in PACT.
We like to maintain contact with students once they have been accepted with emails, next step emails. Part of that next step is encouraging students to fill out the FAFSA. We will include PACT as part of that instruction to fill out the FAFSA.
And just one more point, just make sure that those students know that they would be starting in the fall if they're interested in PACT and not taking classes over the summertime.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you have, that summer would be like considered prior college credit for them and would disqualify them for PACT, okay? Now that, again, that does not include if you are currently enrolled in high school and you're participating in college career pathways, or you're participating in high school partnership, or you're participating in like the UConn ECE program, okay? Because those are college credits that you earn while you're still in high school. So it does not make you ineligible for PACT, okay? Only if you enroll in the summertime after graduation. And then this is the landing page where you can go and find more information about PACT.
Yeah, you guys will want to take a picture of this so that you can share it with your parents, this link with your parents.
Then there's one more slide after this. And if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to Allison Buckley, who's the VP of Enrollment Management for Connecticut State Colleges and Universities. You can reach out to Tony, you can reach out to Ray, or you can reach out to me.
Yeah, this is another photo op
Yeah.
slide recommended.
Yeah. Absolutely. I
We
was.
have it, marketing is doing some revisions to it, so it'll be shared.
There was a question in the back.
So if you were interested, can you hear me? All right. So if you were interested in taking like summer courses, so if you were to apply, would you say summer or fall?
Everybody heard her question. If you were interested in taking summer classes, would you apply for the summer or fall? If you want to do PACT, you definitely need to start in the fall. No questions about it, okay? Start in the fall. All right, now you're able to do summer classes after you've started in the fall, but PACT covers fall, winter, and spring semesters. So I can let Ray talk a little bit about how aid could possibly flow to the summertime.
Yeah. So, yeah, just briefly, the Pell Grant covers summer now. So it used to be if you were full-time fall, full-time spring, you used up all your Pell for the award year. But now you could do another 12 credits in the summer. So you could really speed up your graduation rate. That would be on the Pell Grant. Yeah.
Just to make sure I'm understanding, so a student who's a senior filed FAFSA, they're eligible for the max Pell.
Yep.
Would that Pell Grant cover their enrollment in a community college course the summer before they start? The summer, so they graduate from high school in June, would that Pell Grant money cover that summer? No, the following summer.
It would be the following summer. Because the Pell Grant for summer is a trailer, so we would use the 2021 FAFSA for the following summer, for summer of 2021, 2021, yeah.
And those students would not want to take courses before enrolling to be eligible for PACT, because once they take a course, I know students want to get a head start and take a couple of courses. Once they do that the summer before PACT starts, they then are disqualifying themselves for PACT. So that's important that you guys to know and to be able to explain to your parents. Because I know your parents are pushing you to take a course to get ready for college. You don't want to do that.
So is it possible if you go to like another community college?
No.
And no, so we can't even like.
Not even a private college.
So no other college. If you enroll in any college this summer before the fall, before you actually start college, as a graduated high school student, you become ineligible for PACT. But if you are just gun-ho, keep in mind what Ray has talked about, that keep in mind that you can take 5 or 6 classes in the first semester if you adamantly feel like you can handle that type of a workload. You can then pick up, if you could take 4 in the fall, you can pick up a winter intersession class, okay? Which would still put you about the same credit completion as if you had taken a summer class. Then the following summer, if you want, there's usually 2 summer sessions. There's the first summer session where some students can enroll in 2 courses, that's 6 credits. And then there's a second summer session where sometimes students can enroll in another 6 credits. It really just depends on what your program is and what the course availability is for the summertime. But I wouldn't fret, because there's definitely an opportunity for you to make up credits and not make yourself ineligible for PACT.
So we can do it in the winter session. Our winter session is only 3 weeks long. there's no way they can go full-time, and this program requires them to be full-time. So if they do it in the winter session, they might
Winter session is considered part of spring enrollment. Yes, yes. So it doesn't negatively impact them. But summer, they don't get PACT funding. Yeah, for the following year, they don't get the PACT funding in the summertime. The PACT funding will cover the fall, the winter, and the spring. More burning questions about anything. It doesn't just have to be about PACT. This is a rare opportunity that you have. Director of Admissions, Financial Aid.
There's a question on the application that says, are you an in-state resident? Make sure you check yes. So many students are checking no. The minute you check no, you put yourself as an out-of-state student. So when they ask that question, do you consider yourself an in-state resident? Always check yes.
Because if you check no, you will not see the PACT question. So that's an important point, okay?
What about if someone's enrolled for a technical course over the course of the summer, something electrical, HVAC? Is that going to affect this in relation to winter enrollment?
Are you talking about non-credit courses specifically on the continuing education side of the house?
Yes.
That does not make you ineligible because that's a non-credit course, so you are not receiving college credit for continuing education courses.
How is the government, like, how are they able to fund, how are they, like, putting the money towards, like, the school without getting the money from us to pay? Because isn't it normally, like, when we pay for tuition, that goes towards the school and a lot of things that, I guess, like, books and, like, construction and stuff like that. So how are they able to, I guess, fund the school and support the students if we're not giving tuition?
So we are still receiving tuition. That's a great question.
Taxpayer.
Yes, that's a very, very great question. I like the way you think. I'm going to let Ray step in, but I'll just say that financial aid is, remember, most students have to still apply for financial aid. So financial aid is still coming into play for a good portion because this is a last dollar scholarship program.
Yeah, I just want to, that's a very, very good question. I've seen programs come and go in the state. And I look at this as a window. You have a window here, and they're offering this at this point in time, and you're lucky enough to be a part of it. And probably next year, probably the year after, but who knows after that if this is going to come and go. It depends how much money, how much revenue this comes into the state of Connecticut. So that, you know, this is expensive, you know, but everybody here has a tremendous opportunity. Okay, free college. I mean, it's almost too good to be true. That's why we're here trying to sell this to, because people look at it and they say, oh, sure, yeah, what's the catch? As of now, there's no catch. So it's real important that you take advantage of this, okay? And I wanted to say something about books. Books are very expensive, okay? But, you know, books aren't part of the PACT. They're part of Title IV financial aid. Books could run like $600 a semester. You know, a math book, a chemistry book could run you, you know, $300 or $400.
And that has disqualified your thoughts of Gateway because we don't have housing. Well, we've got a fix to that. Those of you who do come to Gateway and want to live away from home, we have an arrangement with Southern Connecticut State whereby you go over to Southern and negotiate with their residence life department. You pay them for housing there, and then you take your classes at Gateway. By doing so, you also get a Southern Connecticut State ID that allows you entrance to their library and do various and other student activities that happen on campus, their games, anything like that. You can't participate in sports there because you're not enrolled there, but you are a resident at Southern Connecticut State. And then we have a free shuttle that runs from Southern over to Gateway on a regular basis. And if that free shuttle doesn't accommodate your schedule, you will have a U-Pass when you get to Gateway for $20 each semester. You'll buy this U-Pass, and that will give you access, free access, on any mode of public transportation. And that includes the bus, Metro North train, not Amtrak, but Metro North. So you can even take a course or have something to do down in Bridgeport or Norwalk, and you can use that U-Pass to get down there. But more importantly, it would allow you transportation from Southern over to Gateway.
Does that make it more appealing? You have to pay for, you would have to pay for housing. Am I hearing that accurately, Tony?
That's right. You pay for housing at Southern. That is not factored, well, is it factored into the financial aid?
Well, yeah, I mean, think of the PACT program as a glass of water, right? So the Pell Grant pays half the glass, for tuition and fees and a little bit of books. The other half comes from the Pell Grant. So, I mean, what's left over for housing, if there isn't Title IV, then it would be loans for some of the housing. Well, yeah.
So the short answer would be yes, you have to pay Southern for that housing.
Yeah.
I think they're running something like $6,000 per semester, but don't quote me on that, or just get in touch with them, their residence life department.
Yeah.
And that includes room and board there. That includes room and board, food and the room.
Yeah. Just be careful of the loan side of
Yeah.
with that. Yeah. Yes.
So if you apply to new housing at Southern and then you want to stay with recovery, can you back out from it or just stay?
But that's something that you will have negotiated with Southern. If you find that it just doesn't make good financial sense, then you can discontinue your housing at Southern. Yeah, it's non-binding. Yeah, and we have nothing. The only thing we do is inform students of that opportunity, because a number of students don't consider us because they want to live away from home. So then they'll go to the Yukon branch, which is further away, and it's a similar situation there, but Yukon just covers it all. Whereas we can make a local, give you a local opportunity to do the same thing.
How many of you have seen the billboard for the University of Maine, like on I-91? It's blue, University of Maine, and you could go there for the same cost as an in-state university. So you could do, freshman and sophomore year at a community college with the PACT program with no debt, and then junior, senior year, if you choose to go out of state. I recommend it for a lot of people. It's not for everybody to go out of state, but it's a good way to kind of spread your wings a little bit. I don't want to say grow up, but it's a good way to get responsibility. You're away from home, you get a little homesick, but it's an education in itself. Do you have a question?
You get that as it's part of your fees. So students are given that U-Pass as part of their tuition and fees. So it will be covered. So as long as at each semester you enroll, you would get that U-Pass. All of the community colleges are participating. Yes.
Okay.
No, so the U-Pass, the fee is like $20 for the U-Pass, but it's yours. So you ride as much as you want, all day, all night, on the weekends, evenings.
You can go down as far as you can go as far as Stanford, right? And then get off the Metro North and then buy a cheap ticket on Amtrak to the city.
I think $13.
She's done it.
And our students do that, believe me.
Yeah, they do that. We've got about 2 minutes for any other questions.
remember, we are offering FAFSA Fridays. We have a very informative representative whose name also happens to be Holly visiting us. She's actually housed at Housatonic, but she comes here Fridays. We have one coming up this Friday. My goodness, time is flying. This Friday. So if you need help completing your FAFSA, please stop by the school counseling office, sign up. It's free to attend. She's extremely helpful. She's a FAFSA guru. We will tell you the documents that you need to bring in order to get your FAFSA done in that workshop. We will continue running these workshops throughout April. I think there's probably through May. We will continue running these workshops. Juniors in the room, don't worry. We'll continue these FAFSA Fridays in your senior year. So, do you question?
I know I'm asking like 1,000 questions.
It's good. There are some great
But
questions.
if you were interested in taking a study abroad program and provide like a third party work for the school, what do you know about it?
That would be your junior and senior year.
So you can't.
Yeah, yeah, we don't have to study abroad. But pretty much every university does. And we have FAFSA workshops on campus too. So you can just go to our website if you miss the opportunity. Yeah. Yes. Well, we look at what's called the EFC, which is the expected family contribution. That's the federal formula you get. And the state wants to see how much federal money, to fill that glass of water, is going to be federal, because they want to save as much money as they can and slice the pie evenly to as many people as they can. So so the PACT would be the rest. So there'd be no out of pocket or no loan. Just that 250, if you're only PACT. So let's say your parents made $1 million last year, right? It's not that much money these days. It's enough, though, to not qualify for Title IV money, but they would be disqualified for federal money because their expected family contribution is higher than the cost of the school. The PACT would come in and take care of your tuition, your fees, and the $250. Because you met the deadline of July 15th, you're a full-time student and you completed the FAFSA. So it's a good deal. It's the best. Any more questions? Don't miss that deadline, July 15th. Do it now. It's up now. It's on the website. Don't confuse it with 1920. We're talking 2021. There's 2 applications on the website. I think in the upper left is 1920 to 2021.